Carl Froch versus George Groves 2. No prediction here, but just initial thoughts. The mindsets of both fighters. Coming into this fight, it looks quite clear that George Groves is conducting himself like the champion in waiting. He's doing all these press interviews, lauding it up, and he's got all these fans that are kind of feeling sorry for him because of the stoppage. Is there a possibility that George Groves could take his foot off the gas and psychologically be the one not motivated for the second fight? Because some would say, oh, of course he's more motivated for the second fight. He wants to knock Carl Froch out. That's the way of thinking. But on the other hand of things, he may come into the fight too and overconfident coming to this fight. Is there a possibility that George Groves could get sloppy in this second fight? This is George Groves' second fight at world level, and there still are some questions that need to be answered by George Groves. When he tired and Froch tagged him, although he didn't get stopped, the question has to be asked, how much more did George Groves have left in the tank at the time that Froch started closing him down and landed big shots? That's the question. From Froch's side, he was clearly rattled in the first fight by George Groves. I don't believe he was underestimated. I don't see how Froch would have been underestimated George Groves. They'd sparred before, so you kind of get a measure of a man before you get in the ring with him. Now, maybe Carl Froch knew from day one when he fought George Groves that this fight was going to be difficult, and it was a case of, you know what, a faster guy, a more athletic fighter, a guy with lots of rhythm and a good boxer, just basically put Carl off his rhythm. And also the fact that George Groves got inside of his head. George Groves got into his head. Now what's got into Carl Froch's head, I don't know. Now the fact he's gone to see a sports psychologist now, to me, why would you talk about it? Why would you openly talk and say, yeah, I'm seeing a sports psychologist? Don't need to do that. I'm saying don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Don't mention it. Who needs to know you're going to see a sports psychologist? So you're basically admitting to your opponent he's got one up on you in your mind. So maybe Carl Froch is mentally weak. I don't know if he's mentally weak or not. But I do know that he seems to have a lot of insecurities. He seems to be one that's always holding on to Eddie Hearn and looking for Eddie Hearn to help him out here and there. And let's be honest, Eddie Hearn, from what I see, wants Carl Froch to retain the title. Obviously, clearly, Carl Froch is his interest, his business interest, and Carl Froch is the guy that he's managing and promoting, right? So, of course, he wants Carl Froch to win. But you've got George Groves here that's going to be a handful. History says that straight rematches, fighters that go into straight rematches, lose the rematch. That's what history suggests. The real big thing about this fight for me is how much has Carl Froch got left. Was that fight against George Groves showing us that that is the best Carl Froch will be, or is there more in the tank? You don't know, because he takes punches on that chin fight after fight after fight. How many more walls can a man go through? So those are my initial thoughts. I'm out.